Hello friends, today I am going to share with you my much requested recipe for homemade bread. There is nothing that tastes as good as homemade bread, right? And this recipe also has the health and goodness of whole wheat flour. So let's go through the steps of making a half whole wheat bread. Here I have some sugar, some dry activated yeast and 1 cup of lukewarm water. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of sugar into the water and give it a little stir. After that, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of dry activated yeast. Once again, give it a little stir so the yeast gets nicely mixed in the water. After this, we have to leave this yeast to proof for 5 to 10 minutes. You will notice that after that 5 to 10 minutes, the yeast rises and becomes foamy. In the meantime, let's take care of the dry ingredients. In a bowl, add 1.5 cup of whole wheat flour, 1.5 cup of all-purpose flour. This all-purpose flour gives the bread a really nice texture. Now, add in about 3 teaspoons of white granulated sugar and about 1 teaspoon of salt. After this, nicely mix everything together. Let's check on the yeast now. You can see that the yeast has risen and it's nice and foamy. So now we can move on to the next step of this recipe. To the yeast, we will add 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. You can also use canola oil or even olive oil. Just give it a nice mix and then add the dry ingredients. Today I will use my stand mixer for the primary kneading of the bread, but you can also knead it with your hands. For this, I'm going to place this bowl in my stand mixer and knead it with my dough hook attachment for about 5 minutes on medium speed. Using a stand mixer makes your job really easy. But if you don't have a stand mixer, as I said, you can really knead this dough with your hands. It will just take a little more time and effort. That's it. I can tell you that because I always kneaded this dough with my hands before I bought this stand mixer. So you can really do it. After 5 minutes, you can see that the dough has come together. So I'll stop my stand mixer now and check on the dough. Yes, it looks like it's ready. Don't worry if it's a bit sticky. You can see that the dough is really soft. Now, on a flat surface, sprinkle some flour and place the dough on the surface. Knead it until it's smooth. It would take about 7 to 8 turns and form it into a shape of a ball. Now, grease the bowl with some oil. Place the dough in the bowl and just grease the top of the dough with some more oil. It prevents it from getting a crust. After this, you have to cover the bowl with a plastic wrap and let it rest in a warm and dry place for about 1 hour to 1.5 hours, or until the dough has risen and is almost double its size. It's been about 1 hour 15 minutes and you can see that the dough has risen and it's almost double its size. Now, place the dough once again on a flat surface and knead it gently until smooth. It should take about 7 to 8 turns. After that, flatten the dough with your hands and start rolling it out with the help of a rolling pin. Oops, my chopping board is moving. I'm using the chopping board for video convenience purposes, but ideally you should roll it out on a stable surface like on a kitchen countertop. Just clean the countertop and roll out the dough. Try to give it a rectangular shape as you are rolling it out, and the final thickness should be about half an inch. Once you are done with the rolling, it's time to shape the dough. Fold the dough as shown in the video. First of all, fold the dough lengthwise and then seal the open edges. Next, fold it from the sides and seal it once again. Now, grease a loaf pan and place the dough in it, seam side down. After this, you have to once again cover the dough loosely with a plastic wrap and let it rest in a warm and dry place for about 1 hour or until the dough has risen. It's been about 45 minutes and now the dough has risen. Make sure the dough does not rise more than half an inch from the brim of the pan. Now make 2 diagonal slits on the top of the dough with the help of a knife. This prevents the bread from cracking due to oven spring. Now bake it at 350° Fahrenheit for 30 minutes. A little tip: after 15 minutes into baking, you can loosely place a tin foil on top of it. This keeps the bread moist. See how beautiful it looks when it's done, and it smells heavenly. You can run a knife along the edges to make it come out smoothly. Let it come to room temperature before slicing. And now you are all set to enjoy this delicious and healthy homemade bread. Visit the link in description for the full recipe. And don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.